Well, since we do have a big group today, um, let's get started because it's going to take us a while to get through introductions, and I don't want to skip that. But welcome all of you that are joining us. I know some of you may be having some technical issues, and that's fine. You can log off and log back on if you need to, as needed. Um, but we'll get started. Thank you all for joining us for our very first um, monthly meetup for 2021 for the Pacific Island Business Alliance, which is a program of PICTAR, which is Pacific Island Knowledge to Action Resources, for those that are not familiar with those acronyms. We want to welcome all those that are joining us, not only here in Utah, but from all over the country. And I heard that some might be joining us from out of the country as well. So we're really excited to have everybody here today. And we're excited for some of the panelists that we have here for our Meet the Media Day. And so for those that are not aware, usually on their very first meeting of the year, um, we get members of the media to kind of meet together so that we can kind of hear what kind of things that they're looking for their stories and for their media channels, and to get an opportunity for some of our small businesses to um, share their stories and share some of their experiences. And so the way that the format usually works is that we go around the room, introduce each other, just a quick little introduction, especially today. Let's make it real quick. Just your name, the business that you have or that you were trying to start, or the organization that you represent. And so we'll just keep it to that for today. And so I'll go ahead and start out. My name is John Tutau. I'm the president of the Salt Lake chapter of the Pacific Island Business Alliance. Um, in addition to that, I'm the COO of Premier Catering, which is a social enterprise of PICTAR. And so we provide catering for a lot of different, right now, mostly corporate events and so forth. And one of the biggest contracts that we have now is Nourish to Flourish, which is a program that provides meals to underserved youth and families here in Salt Lake. And so with that, I will pass it over to Daniel Tutel, my brother, and then we'll go from there. Everybody just introduce yourselves, what business that you have or that you were trying to start, and what organization you're with, and then pass it to the next person.
Morning, everybody.
Daniel, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm John's little brother. I happen to be also a videographer, and our company is DB Productions. We've recently transitioned more into online conferencing support, and so I'm helping actually to support recording this meeting and doing that. We've helped both PICTAR and the community health workers section here in Utah to host online virtual conferences. We also do photography, and so basically photography and videography is our big focus. Used to be mainly towards the performing arts, concerts, recitals, things like that, but then COVID canceled everything. And so we've been kind of transitioning, and so we do different types of media support and those types of things, mainly for individuals and local organizations. To my right in the screen, I think I have Lee Lonsberry from KSL News, and so I'll turn the time over to you.
Yeah, hey, I'll be real quick here. Honored to be joining you. My name's Lee Lonsberry on KSL News Radio. In the afternoons, I host a talk radio program. My background in radio has been behind the scenes for the most part, producing for my dad, who was a talk show host in this market for a long time, and then producing for Doug Wright. And then after that, I spent 5 years in Washington, D.C. as the director of communications for Congressman Rob Bishop. And it was after his announcement of retirement and a vacancy here at KSL that I end up back here hosting the radio program. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all and answering any questions I might be able to answer. Do I now pass it along to someone?
Sure. I think John's still on mute. I was going to let him jump back in.
All right. Yeah, it was on mute. Yeah, go ahead. Choose whoever you'd like to go next, Lee.
Is it Bianca with the puppies right next to me?
Yes. Hi, my name is Bianca Velasquez. I am the managing editor at Slug magazine. This is Pono because he decided to be part of this meeting, and Gus was here earlier, but he left. So yeah, so my background at the magazine, I was hired as an editorial assistant and then promoted to managing editor this last July. So I've been there in a bunch of taking a bunch of different roles there, along with Craft Lake City as well. So really excited to be here, and I'm really excited to answer any questions and get to know all of you. So thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks for joining us. On my screen to the right of her, I have Claudia. Claudia, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Claudia Kircher, Arizona-based. I'm a president of the nonprofit Island Liaison, and we serve Pacific Islanders with focus on people from the region of Micronesia, the Republic of the Marshall Islands, Federated States of Micronesia, and Palau. And we're here in Arizona as a resource towards giving them information on health care, where to go, such as Mountain Park. And now with the COVID, we've been serving them food for people, families that have recovered, and for the families that are financially hardship, and for the families that were stranded here. That's who we are.
Thank you. Carol, you want to go next? You're next on my screen.
Sure, thank you. How are you? I am Carol Shiflett. I'm the executive director and owner of the Sojourner Group, and I focus on meeting the often ignored and unmet needs of the historically traumatized Black American victim survivor of sexual and domestic violence. I focus on education and training that actually leads to healthier lifestyles for healthier families for these survivors. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Rachel, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Rachel Bennett with the Small Business Administration, and we help small businesses with capital contracting and counseling and disaster assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. And we'll have an update from her later. Sharon, do you want to go next?
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Sharon Malohifo'ou. I am over the microlending here at the Pacific Island Business Alliance. I did quickly want to ask if you would please put your business contact information in the chat to include your business name, the industry you're in, product or services you sell or offer, and then also your title. That will help us keep track.
Thank you, Sharon. Pamay, you want to go next? Is your mic working now?
I think so. Aloha mai
We can hear
kākou. Okay, aloha. I'm Pamay Kaigawi, and I'm a kumuhula for Kehaulani Hula Studio out in Salt Lake City. Also have a group out in Santa Rosa, California. This would be my third year teaching hula. This is my 20th year, I think, here on the continent. Just recently, we've also done or opened Taro Patch Catering out in Salt Lake City as well. So we do catering and different events. So we can do entertainment and food at the same time. Anyway, good morning, one and all.
And for those that don't know, Taro Patch is the company that runs our premier cafe over at the Valley Behavioral Health. So definitely hit them up if you guys have any needs for any catering needs. Next up on my list, I have Jennifer. Are you with us now?
I am. I've been on audio the whole time, and I don't know if you see it now, but I'm showing that I've joined video on my phone. So you may see me on there twice, but I'm here.
That's
Thank you so much. And you asked how 2021 is. Again, thank you so much for your group for hosting this event. I think it's really a great idea. I am a member of the media. And so do you want me just to give an abbreviated welcome?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, hey, happy to be here. Thanks for involving me.
Thank you. And she'll be joining us on the panel later. Jeanette, do you want to introduce yourself?
John, for me, is that you're calling on me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Janet Alcala. I'm the project manager for National ACE. We're an AAPI Chamber of Commerce that's national. We advocate for Asian American, Pacific Islander, small business, minority business organizations. So we also are the voice on Capitol Hill, and we're just very excited to be here today. We're also joined by our board member, Susan Jin Davis, and I will actually be handing it off to her so she can do her introduction.
Great.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Janet. I'm Susan Jin Davis. I'm Chief Sustainability Officer for Comcast NBCUniversal, but I am honored to be the Vice Chair of ACE. And I'm just so impressed with what I've heard so far about all the good work that you all are doing in the community in Salt Lake. It's really folks like you that are the heroes and the partners that we at Comcast as well as ACE really love to be connected to and in partnership with on how we can make a difference in this world. So thanks for having me, and I look forward to hearing everything that happens.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Let's see, Annette, do you want to introduce yourself? Annette, your microphone's on mute.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be with each of you today, and Happy New Year. My name is Annette Richards, and I am a certified graphologist. What that means is handwriting analysis. I've been on the radio a few times. I also am a former addictions counselor, post-traumatic stress disorder, domestic violence, and my business partner and I are creating a program where we show people how to write their own stories, because we believe that your story is your true legacy. And I also am a published author. Thank you.
Thank you. Keri, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Keri Wilcox. I'm with KSL Television. I've actually been with KSL Television for more than 20 years, and I've during that time done pretty much every job. I currently oversee KSL Investigates and Special Projects. So we're the team that does stories that take more than a day. We're not necessarily during the day turn stories, but the longer term projects.
Great. And then I have another Keri, the other Keri?
Yes, Keri Nakamura, and I'm Chief of Staff to Mayor Jenny Wilson. And John, I'm happy to say that we helped kickstart with funding Nourish to Flourish. So I'm really happy to hear that you're on the other end of it, one of the businesses that's being supported by that program. It's a fantastic program. Thank you for including me this morning.
Thank you for joining us. All right, Stephen, you're up. Unmute your mic first.
Hey, thanks, John. I'm Stephen Fabiano. I'm CEO and founder of FIA Care. We provide unlimited healthcare memberships, including both house calls, meaning we send the provider to patients' homes, and telehealth, instant message, video call, phone call services for our patients. Our clients are both employers and individual subscribers, and we started here in Salt Lake County and have expanded around the Utah, Salt Lake and Utah County metros, as well as into the Twin Cities in Minnesota, Atlanta, and the Phoenix Mesa area. It's all been moving rather quickly, and we seem to have been able to make a pretty great impact. So very excited to be here. Thanks for Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Stephen. And for those that don't know, FIA Care is one of the benefits of the Business Alliance. So if you're a member, you can get discounts with the Business Alliance for FIA Care. So keep that in mind. We'll go ahead with Karen. You want to unmute yourself and there you go. And introduce yourself, please.
Yes, good morning. My name is Karen Lynn Graves, and I am with NBCUniversal. We are federally funded by the United States Department of Commerce, Bureau of Minority Business Development Agency. We serve American Indian, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiians in Arizona, Utah, Nevada, and on the Navajo Nation. So essentially we help with business development resources and helping businesses start and grow. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Eric, do you want to introduce yourself? Unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi, my name is Eric Tuaone. I am the president and founder of a Mother's Foundation. We're connecting humanity via tablets and laptops. We're a month old. We're a new charity here in Salt Lake City. Started out of Sugar House. And in that month, we've already delivered 600 tablets and laptops via the community. We've been working real closely with Pickar and Susi, as well as the United Way Salt Lake. So we're excited to be here. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, that's what we do.
Thank you, Eric. Robert Ringing, you want to introduce yourself? Thanks for joining us this morning. Are you available? There you go. Hi, Robert. Robert, can you hear us? Oh, I don't, might be something wrong with your mic. Let's, maybe you can log off and log back on, maybe. While Robert's working on his mic, Alyssa, do you want to introduce yourself while Robert's getting his mic up and going?
Sure. My name is Alyssa Hickman Grove. I am the communications manager at the Utah Division of Arts and Museums. And I was forwarded an invitation to this meeting by our assistant director, Natalie Peterson. So thank you for letting me join you. For those of you who don't know our agency, we provide funding and other resources to artists, arts organizations, and museums around the state. And we are looking to increase our reach into all the different communities around the state. So I'm very excited to be joining you today. Thank you.
Great, thanks for being here. Probably gonna mess up this name, Hinana, is that right? You want to introduce yourself? Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's right. Hinana's my wife, but she's sick right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my name is Manu Tanyelu. I'm here in St. George, Utah, and Manuscript is our company, film and music production, and we're just here for some wisdom and networking. Appreciate everyone for putting this together. And this is Li'i right here.
Yeah, my name is my full name is Namo Li'i Tofa, and I'm also a scriptwriter and part of the Manuscript Films. So nice to meet you all.
Great. Thanks for joining us. Audrey, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good morning. My name is Audrey Allo. I am actually from Los Angeles County, California, and Susi sent this invitation. So, I'm nosy as heck. So, I go to these different spaces that I'm invited to just to find out what other people are doing. So basically my background is in health, advocacy, and education. Working with the Southern California Pacific Islander COVID response team to try to see what's happening with our communities. So thank you so very much. I'm sure I'm going to learn an awful lot.
Thank you. Bella, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. I'm Bella Johnson. I am
the owner of Colo Clinical Research. It's a company that provides the infrastructure for pharma companies in drug development. So right now we focus on diabetes, lung things like asthma, and other types of different healthcare issues in our underserved communities. Those are kind of our biggest problems. And so we're looking at diversifying our patient base and making sure that our underserved communities have at the drug development table as well. So we've been up and running for about 2 years in Salt Lake City, and interested in networking and letting people know about this resource. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Bella. Hey, Robert, looks like you're back on. Do you want to try and see if your mic will work now? Unmute yourself. Is there a way, Daniel, is there a way to unmute him from Lauren?
No, it must just be an issue with his mic.
Robert, we'll come back around, Robert. Laura, do you want to introduce yourself? Thanks for joining us. Good to see you.
Hi, you talking to me?
Yes.
Lara Jones with KRCL's radioactive program, which is Community Affairs, weeknights at 6 on KRCL 90.9 FM. And shout out to Ivoni Nash and Company Talakula, which has been on the air with us forever. Recently got recognized and for its contributions to the community. And it's evading my mind which group gave that, but I will put it in the chat. We have a link on our website. I'm here to offer whatever I can in advice on how to pitch the media, but I'm always looking for great stories, folks to highlight on the show that are up to good trouble, as we say, but also passing the mic to folks in the community. If you haven't checked out our show, please do. We're on the air weeknights at 6, but we also have our archive up online at krcl.org, and you can listen to us when you want, where you want, with our free mobile app. So.
Thank you. Kalani, you want to go next? Real quick.
Sure. Hi, I'm Kalani. I am the director of POW, which is PICTAR's arts organization. We have a couple of, well, we have a lot of programming that we're working on for 2021 that I hope the community will enjoy. We just finished our first segment of Cooking with POW, which we are doing to bring traditional dishes, island dishes into your homes, teach everybody how to do it. Chef Bawaikai was the first one that was on our little segment, so that was a lot of fun. We are also working on programming we're partnering with the Business Alliance for the 9th annual Utah Pacific Island Heritage Month, which is in August. And we're working on a series of workshops feature Pacific Islander arts and crafts. So those are just a few of the things that we're working on. But
Thank you. Thank you, Kalani. Next, we'll pass it over to Roberta. You give us a quick introduction. I know you're going to give us an update later, just to introduce yourself.
Sure, thanks, John. Hi, everyone. I'm Roberta Reichelt with Salt Lake City Economic Development Department. I'm the local business and entrepreneurship manager. So I support the local business community here in Salt Lake, whether that's connecting them to the resources available in the community, connecting them to financial capital. We have a loan program for businesses, for startup and growing businesses in Salt Lake City, and then also navigating the internal city process for the business community. So that's all.
Thank you. Will, right? You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here with you, everyone. I work with Roberta with the city, support in all of the things that she just said.
Thank you for joining us. Agnes, thanks for joining us. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Agnes Lamu-Pinitani, and I work for the Department of Workforce Services, where specifically in the Refugee Services Office, where we connect job seekers to employers. We offer different initiatives and incentives and information that would help small businesses, all businesses, to help their bottom line. And we have a lot of resources. Also, chair of the Pacific Island Business Alliance as well. Thank you.
And for those that are not aware, Agnes is also co-founder of the Business Alliance. And so we want to really thank her for joining us today and for everything that she's put into the organization. Next up, Cody, you want to introduce yourself and your organization?
Yes, good morning. My name is Cody Neville. I'm with the Small Business Administration, right along with Rachel, and I'm just excited to be here today and listen in. And thank you for all you guys do. It's exciting to see all your companies and learn what you do to help the community. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, Cody. Darren, you want to go next?
Hey, my name's Darren Lyon. Just got invited to this. I'm an entrepreneur, been in business for 22 years, been in blockchain really deep for about 5-6 years. So just here to listen.
Karen, thanks for joining us, Karen. Karen Tote, you want to join us? Introduce yourself, sorry.
Well, John, my wife said I should introduce myself. I'm Karen's husband, and we just started our construction company. Have like 20 years of background in construction. But we just recently started our own construction and landscaping company. We live here in Grantsville, but we've done quite a bit of things in the community with Susi and John. Just looking forward to expand, this is an amazing market to be able to get into, and there's enough for even the Pacific Islanders to be able to provide for their families, and that's what I'm looking for.
Thanks, Tom. Is Karen on there too, or just you?
Hi everybody. My name is Karen. I have my own little business on my I am with Inspire Up, and we are a program of holistic living. I have an upcoming program called Inspire Up Unplugged for self-care and self-love type of retreat, and looking forward to learn from all of you and connecting as well. And my husband's business is called Double Diamond Landscaping and Construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Tom. Who am I missing? I'm trying to Susi, you're on. Let's give Susi a chance to introduce herself.
Thank you so much. I apologize for running late this morning. My name is Susi Felch-Malohifo'ou, and I am the CEO and Director of Pacific Island Knowledge to Action Resources, known as PICTAR, which is a community-based 501c3, which the Pacific Island Business Alliance is one of our programs. One of our focuses is to increase income into ethnic and overlooked community households using business. So thank you so much for everyone being here this morning. This is our first meeting of the year, and annually we do the Meet the Media. I am a serial entrepreneur myself, micro enterpriser, and one of the ways that I grew my business is that I learn how to make good relationships with the media, and so that they could use human interest stories. And I thought that I would incorporate that here in when I moved to Salt Lake City. Is we can't afford big dollar, we don't have big dollar media money. And so I appreciate our partners, the media that has come this morning, and all of you that are here to participate. I see people that have come from American Samoa here, and appreciate those of you that, I think Fa'alu's on here, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning in American Samoa, that have made big efforts to get here this morning. So I hope that it's of value to you, and that you learn, meet people, and let's all be profitable in 2021.
Thank you, Susie. Sione, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Sione Habili. I work at Domo. I sit on the board of the Utah Polynesian Professionals. Run a small business with Leroy Tell Big Buddha called Black Sand Media, where we've been responsible for bringing a lot of Polynesian talent to Utah. Grateful to be here.
Thank you, Sione. Who am I missing? Lauren? Did you already go, Lauren?
No.
Gustus?
Thanks. I'm Lauren Gustus. I'm the new editor of the Salt Lake Tribune. Been with the Tribune for just over a month. I joined from Sacramento in California, the Sacramento Bee. It's a homecoming for me. I worked at the Tribune a number of years ago, and I'm excited to be back. I do believe that for a long time, media has not reflected its community, and I believe that's a problem. I recognize that it takes time to build trust and to build relationships, and I am honored to be here this morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Who am I missing? I was multitasking, so is there anyone that hasn't gone so far? If you want to just go ahead and chime in and introduce yourself. Or if anybody sees anybody that I haven't invited yet. Robert, did you ever get your mic working again? If not, you can put your info in the chat if the mic doesn't work. Rachel, did you go already? Yeah, okay.
Yep, I did.
Sorry, you just popped up on my screen and I was like, did I go over? Okay. If not, I guess we'll get started with the rest of the meeting. Anybody else want to introduce themselves? If not, hold your peace. We wanted to just real quick, Sharon is in charge of our micro lending. Sharon, do you want to give us just a real quick update on what's going on with our micro lending programs?
Yes, just really quickly, we do have the 2 loans, working on getting the 3rd one up. Right now, we've got Kiva. It's a 0% interest, no fees, up to $15,000. The terms for Kiva is 12 months to 3 years. And then we have Celtic Bank. This one is only 9.99. It's 1 to 5,000. The term for Celtic is 12 months. And nice thing about Celtic, no personal guarantee. And then just really quickly, the IDA, which is an individual development account. This can be used towards your businesses. The new IDA that started this year is a 2-to-1 match, maximum 1,000. So maximum savings would be 3,000 for whatever chosen asset you choose. The term is from 6 months to 3 years. And if you're currently in the 3-to-1 match cohort, you would have to wait a year before you could start a new IDA. So thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Let's see, Rachel, I know there's a lot of stuff coming out with the SBA. Do you want to just give us a brief update on what's going on with the SBA?
Yeah, for sure. So just recently, last week, the EIDL loan program, the economic injury disaster loan, was extended. The deadline is extended to the end of 2021. So if you have not applied for that grant and EIDL loan, please do so through you can go to the SBA website, disaster assistance, and we'll walk you through that process. The second stimulus bill was passed and signed, so we're waiting for the PPP instructions round 2 to roll out. As we get that information, we send out our newsletter or press releases. If you'd like to sign up for our newsletter so that you can stay informed on those topics, if you go to sba.gov/UT, you can sign up for email updates and get those newsletters. Also on that page, a really good resource for you if you're having a hard time finding a lender is called Lender Match. You can put in your information and what you need in that portal, and it will match you with a lender near you. That's a really great program. So again, I can put those links in the chat and so people can sign up for our newsletter, and just watch for that PPP round 2 information to come out. It should be any day now.
Thank you, Rachel. Roberta, do you want to give us any updates on what's going on with the city?
Sure. Not too much on our end, but I do want to announce that, and this kind of came out, I would say, under the radar, but the Mayor's Arts, Culture, and Events Fund, it's a grant for holding events that bring arts, education, and technology opportunities to Salt Lake City. These do have to all be Salt Lake City-based events, but they are grants up to $10,000. I would say the average grant is for about $2,000 to $3,000 maybe or less. But totally great opportunity. The application isn't super intense, and I wanted to bring it up now because the deadline is actually tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to, and I know there has been some, I used to be on the committee, and there's been some Pacific Islander or some events from PICTAR that have come through there. So I want to make sure you guys are aware of this and don't miss out on the opportunity. And it's really for any nonprofit or business entity, community organization, anything like that, that hosts an event that has, attendance and everything. And usually it's, these are free events for the community. So the funds are meant to cover the cost of the tickets and things like that.
Got it. Can you put that, do you have that link? And
Yeah,
maybe put it
I'm going to drop it right here.
That'd be great. Kalani's on here too, so she'll probably be interested in that. With that, I think that was the bulk of the business, but let's go ahead and get into the panel. As we mentioned earlier, this is the Meet the Media, and so this is an opportunity for our friends from the media to kind of hear some stories from members of the Business Alliance. Susie or Daniel, did we figure out how we're going to do these breakout rooms? Do we want to? Daniel, you want to chime in?
Yeah, so we can make those breakout rooms. If I can, so the options are either to just randomly assign them or manually assign them, or let the participants choose. I don't know how many rooms we were going to necessarily want here. Are we wanting it really one-on-one, or just small groups of 2, 3, or 4, or something like that, or?
Small groups, because of so many people that are on here today. Susie, did you have an idea of how you wanted to run these break?
Time we've switched over to online, so please be patient with us as we figure out how to move this program online. But normally, why don't we have everybody introduce themselves that's on the panel, what you do, what your job description is, and tell us a little bit about what types of stories are you looking for. And I think the biggest thing is, how do we reach you? How do we reach media? How do you like the content? If we have an idea that we'd like to get to a reporter, that we would like to have a human interest story done. How do we make that happen? And so Lauren, I see you first. Why don't you start? And then we'll just go through and introduce each of the media panelists that we have online. And then when we get done, Daniel, what I think we could do is break everybody up into groups in the breakouts, give us 3 minutes and then switch it. And then that should break it down just a little bit closer. Normally we can do this one-on-one because you're looking at each other. Hopefully next year we'll get back to that, but please be patient with us as we figure this out on how we switch over online. So Lauren, I'll turn this time over to you, and then we'll go through each of the panelists that are here this morning.
Great, thanks, Susie. As I said, I am the new executive editor of the nonprofit Salt Lake Tribune. I've been on the job for all of 5 weeks. It's been a busy 5 weeks. We've transitioned to a weekly print product with a daily e-edition. We've also relaunched the website and our apps and so on and so forth. And we are very interested in how we can grow audience in the digital space, because we believe that's where the future of local news is going to be. Would love your help in elevating issues that are pertinent to all of us today. That's growth, health, education, right? Politics, representation, equity. We are focused on kind of 3 buckets, if you will, at the Tribune. The first is accountability. So how do we ensure that those who are in positions of power are using that power appropriately? Second is high utility. And I would imagine that this would be a place where we might find opportunities. This is, how do I find the best takeout food on the West Side? How do I volunteer to support my community in this capacity? How do I find other intersections with how I can best lead my life along the front or more broadly, and then breaking news with context. And that's important too, because it's got to be about not just what happened, but why. By way of how you might reach us, we have tips at sltrib.com. We have a managing editor who screens every single email that comes in. I'll put his email in the chat as well. His name is Matt Canham. And we will continue to, how do I want to say this, do more and better outreach as the year goes on. I would also say that the opinion space is an important space, and we would love your perspectives more in that space. And so I'll put some information with respect to how to submit in the opinion sections, i.e. an op-ed over in the chat. Thank you.
There was a lot of comments about Salt Lake City Tribune kind of changing their format in how they're going. So I think that some people will have some questions about why did they change their format that Lauren can answer. I wanted to introduce Lara Jones. She is the host for Radioactive from KRCL, one of our partners. I think Lara has been with us every year since we started Meet the Media. And she's a great partner and helps us amplify our voice in the stories that she talks about on Radioactive. And so, Laura, you want to tell us how do we connect with you and what are you looking for?
Sure. Thank you so much for all that you add to KRCL. And I dropped in the chat the award I was mentioning earlier. It's the OCA Asian Pacific Islander American Advocates Utah chapter and their 2020 Utah Asian Pacific Islander Community Awards. They recognized Talakula, one of our longest running shows, which is recognized around the globe, connecting Pacific Islander, all sorts of folks. Through this program, they gave them the Spirit of the Community Award. And I've learned so much from them. It's like one night I was there late on a Sunday as they started their program, and they were setting up all this media. And I'm like, okay, you need to teach everyone else at KRCL how to properly do a 2-cam live stream, because this is awesome. We're very much volunteer based, except during the weekdays we have paid staff. My program Radioactive started out of the need for folks to talk after 9/11, and it just evolved into a community affairs program, which now is, as I said earlier, weeknights from 6 to 7 p.m. I'm always looking for interesting stories and pitching the media, really understanding what their audience is in order to really connect with their reporters, and what they cover is crucial to any pitch. I am so inundated with email that especially since COVID started, all I'm doing is trying to get my show on the air. So I have less time actually to look at all the emails that come in and wonder, more than 5 seconds of looking at the subject line and maybe the opening graph, if it's going to be something I can use on the show. So being very succinct and very focused in your pitch. One of the things I'm always looking for is special story ideas around milestones in the year. So whether that's Easter, Mother's Day, daylight savings, we do a whole punk rock farmer thing on Fridays where we're talking about urban farmers. And I'm always looking for new people to plug into these conversations with our community co-hosts. So the more that you know about my program, the easier it's going to be to pitch me. But I also dropped in the chat my email address for the show, which is radioactive@krcl.org. You're always welcome to reach out. I always love a phone number because if it's important, I want to call someone. The email can be a bit laggy. If you're doing a daily show and you want to put something on quickly, when you send me a pitch, be available for my call back if I'm interested. It's a kind of a push-pull relationship because I want what I want when I want it. If it doesn't work for me, I'm not going to reply either because I have so many things coming in. But if you take that time to reach out and build a relationship, that will work eventually. You just, hey, do you have time to call me? That's about what? But an introduction email saying, I don't have a story now, but I wanted to let you know about my organization or my upcoming event, or I have questions about how to work with the media. I will be looking out for folks that also put in your subject line this organization when you make your pitch. And that's going to stand out to me in the subject line because I don't have to hunt for it. So hopefully those are just a few tips. I don't want to take much more time. I'm happy to talk at length in our breakout rooms.
Next up on the panel is KSL is a new group or panelists, and they came strong. I'm really excited to have both representation here from KSL TV and KSL Radio. And I am going to introduce Keri Wilcox. She's the Deputy Marketing Editor at KSL TV. And I always have to put a plug for us Pacific Islanders. Tanya Vea, who is married to Pacific Islander, is the general manager of KSL. And we're really excited to have her team join us this year. And so Keri.
Thank you for having us. There's a great way to reach us because we're such a large organization. We're KSL Television, KSL News Radio, KSL.com, all 3 different companies, and then Deseret News. And there's one email to reach all of us. It's news@ksl.com. And if you email that, it goes to all of those organizations. So it's a great way to get broad reach. If you've got a pitch that's more specific to a specific group or show, it's likely better to then figure out who the contact is for that. For example, as I mentioned earlier, I oversee KSL Investigates. We also do more like feature special projects. So if there's a good feature story, I included my email as well, that you can go that way, or an investigative story. If you think it's something that would be good for like a Studio 5, I'm happy in the breakout room to kind of give more specifics on ways of reaching programs like that. And Lee, I'm sure will share kind of if it's like a KSL News Radio talk show thing, how to reach them a little bit more specifically. Loved all the stuff that the other media panelists have already said about pitches, but we get hundreds of emails and phone calls. And so being concise, we don't have time to read a long rambly email. Just make it 1 or 2 very clear, concise paragraphs of specifically what the story is you're pitching and why you think it's of interest. I think it's always good. And I also underline what I've also heard, include your phone number. As much contact information as you can is always helpful. So thanks. Excited to talk more in a short time in the panel.
Thank you so much, Keri. I also wanted to mention what I was saying about links to Pacific Islanders is that Lauren replaced Jennifer Napier Pierce, who is half Tongan, and she now is with the governor and in charge of, she's over communications now for the new administration for the governor. And so we're really excited to see her get a new position and in over communications for the new Governor Cox. And she's always been a participant of this. And now that her new responsibilities, she was not able to come, but we're really glad to meet Lauren and support and partner up with and continue our partnership with the Tribune. One of the things that Lara said was know your audience, right? So when we're looking for a specific story, looking at the media panelists that you hear and where does it fit best? And if Bella is on, she is with Aerostar Media. They own 2 Hispanic radio stations. And we have a community of Hispanics who are consumers and a good way for us to bridge the communities. So Bella, if you're on. She may not be. We will skip. I'm going to go back to KSL and I'm going to introduce Andrew Hull, who is the lead producer of Talk KSL Radio. He looked a little stressed right there. Did something happen? And you're on mute, Lee, if you want to introduce yourself and how do people contact you and what are you looking for?
Sure. Thank you so much. I just point out, I don't think Andrew Hull is on here. If I'm wrong, Andrew, speak up. But the program he produces, David and Janovic, they're going on the air in about 90 seconds. My shtick is this: for about 2.5 hours each day, I tell stories. That is the bottom line. And what informs those stories, and what stories from the community make it into those 2.5 hours. Those are stories that have a broad impact, are interesting, are something that will lead the family at the end of the day as they sit around the kitchen table, either to speculate or to investigate or to take action, involve themselves more so in something going on around them. And so it's current events driven. If it's going on in the news or in the community or in the world somewhere, there's a good chance that I'm going to consider it for the program. You can probably imagine that today is going to be a little bit dominated by some goings on in Washington, D.C. But on a normal day, it is, we're just kind of combing through everything that comes in via the email, phone calls, that assignment desk, the news tip line that Keri mentioned, and Laura from the other radio station, she said something very important and very true, and that much of it is about relationships. In the chat, I put contact information for my producer, Amy, and having a relationship with Amy and with myself and with other folks who find themselves in my position is incredibly important for 2 reasons. Both when you have something, either your business or your organization that you feel, tells a good story or reveals something that's important and compelling and is, worthy of, broadcasting to the whole state, that relationship allows you to, communicate that quickly. But also too, it's important for the instances where, say, I or my producer or someone on the team, where we encounter something and we're scratching we may not be experts, but you have the instinct or whatever to know that there is a big story there is something compelling and interesting, but who could help us join the conversation. And so the relationship kind of plants in our Rolodex and in our go-to toolbox as someone who's an expert on that, and you'll likely get a phone call or an email saying, hey, do you mind weighing in on this? And so if I could boil that all down, as you evaluate your business or your organizational needs, and one of your objectives is to get exposure to that, and if you're looking to do it through say my program or any other places here, knowing how you relate to big headline making events is an important thing. Talk radio is a long form thing. We can get through the nuts and bolts of a story very quickly, and then we quickly move to the peripheral observations and the peripheral impacts of a story like that. And there's a good chance that, if you put some thought into it, you can find where your organization or your business fits into those, if not primary, certainly secondary or tertiary questions or conversations that stem from big events. So always be looking for that kind of stuff. And I'm eager to be a partner. I'm eager and open. Amy, my producer, who can't join us today, but is always looking for new relationships and new stories and new ideas and new expertise. And I'm confident that in all these windows that I see on my screen here, that there's a lot of expertise, and I look forward to interacting with it.
Thank you, Lee. Very much for participating in KSL's support. This year we do this annually, the very first Salt Lake City chapter meeting, the first Thursday of every month. I am really honored this morning to introduce Susan Jen Davis. She's the Chief Sustainability Officer for Comcast NBCUniversal. And I have to tell you that I spend time every year in Washington, DC, where Susan is she's on the board of National ACE, which is Asian American Pacific Island Chamber of Commerce and Entrepreneurship. And the Business Alliance in Pictar is an MOU partner. And we're the only Pacific Island business organization. She was the reason I cut my hair. I'd see her in Washington, DC, and I was like, wow, she's an amazing, she's like a firecracker. You're gonna get to hear her today. And I saw if she could go gray and have this funky haircut, I'm gonna go back to Salt Lake City and do the same thing. So she inspired me to go natural with my gray and own it. And I had the privilege of sitting at a dinner, an event, it's called the Asian Prom in Washington, DC with her. And I saw she's not very big in stature, but this woman is somebody that's very powerful in Washington, DC, and in this nation when it comes to media. So I'm really honored to have Susan with us this morning to share, drop some wisdom and gem with us. And I'm really honored that she came to the Business Alliance, because I am sure there's a ton of places where she could be this morning. And I'll turn this time over to Susan.
Susie, thank you. I don't really deserve that type of introduction, because you have to realize that when Susie asks anybody to show up anywhere, it's really in our best interest to show up. She is that powerful, and she is that role model and that leader for us in the community. But thank you, Susie. I'm really honored to be here. So I'm on the ACE board, as Susie mentioned. I'm also the chair of the Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies, which is an organization that is encouraging AAPIs to be engaged civically, to vote, to support candidates who look like us, and to run themselves, because we need to increase representation. And then, of course, ACE exists in order to give our business community a face and a place at the table in Washington, DC, when decisions are being made about funding, about support, to increase the visibility of our community. And I'm also, of course, at Comcast NBCUniversal, and I'm really glad to see KSL here. Despite what maybe some of us have heard lately, the media is and can be our friend. And it's one piece, very important piece of the storytelling that we need to have as a community, so that Americans, so that the world understands that we exist, that we are important, that we are part of the engine of the economy, that we are American, and that we belong here, and that we ought to be empowered to be part of the lifeblood of American life and business. And storytelling is very critical, because I'm often very concerned when I see a lot of reporting going on around the effects of COVID, when I see reporting around racial unrest, when I see reporting around politics, and noticeably absent oftentimes are stories about us, about how we've been affected by COVID, about how our businesses need assistance and attention at a difficult time in this country, how our lives are being lost, and how important our vote is. And I think we can all see, whether we're on one side or the other, if you look at the presidential election, when you look at what happened in Georgia, the AAPI vote has made a difference. So the media is important for us to have those stories out there. The second thing is the NBC side of me, of course, is also thinking about filmmaking and TV and how we can use entertainment to tell our stories as well. And I was just watching a show the other day that was featuring food in San Francisco. And I said to myself, so help me God, they better have some portrayal of Asian Pacific Islander American food on this show. I was waiting, and it never came. And I thought, how could you have a show about San Francisco food and not mention the diverse amount of Asian Pacific Islander American fare that is in that city? My only point is this: TV, movies, news, these are part of the way in which we can get our stories out there. And when you have stories out there, you have representation, and you have a way in which people can remember that you are important and will not forget you. And why this is important: funding for our businesses, funding for our organizations, funding for the shows and the movies that we want to show. This is all connected to whether people believe that we are significant and important and have representation, and importantly, whether we're American. So Susie, I really appreciate being here. I don't want to take up much more time except to say thank you for all that you're doing in the community. I wish more stories about all the good things you're doing were in the media more, and not only in Salt Lake, but also in the national media, so that people understand all that we are doing to contribute to the great country that we're in. And I'm looking forward to working with you on how we can do that. Think of me as a resource. Susie knows how to contact me, or she can even contact me, and you know I'm going to show up. I'm afraid not to show up if Susie asks me to show up, because I respect her that much, and I honor her request very seriously. So thanks for having me, and I'll take any questions or comments, but otherwise I'm here to listen and to learn. So thank you for having me.
So much, Susan. And yeah, I could sit at her feet and learn from her hours and hours. So we've got a couple more guests. And again, we picked very broad media people here because there are so many ways that you can connect with the media. I'm going to introduce Bianca. She is with Slug magazine, and Angela has been the founder of Slug magazine, has been a great partner in getting our musicians and our performing arts stories out. So Bianca, we'll let you introduce Slug magazine and what you do.
Hi everyone, I'm so happy to be here. I know Alex in the past has represented Slug magazine, so this is my very first time as managing editor, so I'm very excited, and I'm already so inspired by everyone. So I'm really happy to be able to be in the presence of all of you. So yes, I'm the managing editor over at Slug magazine. Slug is an acronym for Salt Lake Underground, and we focus on lifestyle, art, and music and action sports, with a variation, obviously, with all of the specific stories between those areas. But those, while we aren't hard news, while we don't publish hard news stories, we do like to use our platform to amplify the voices of overlooked communities. That's very, very personally important to me, but I know important to the magazine as well. So we really want to, for example, one specific way that we would like to do that is to increase the voices of POC and Black individuals in our art features, for example. I would really like to see more artists being represented there. Right now, but we have covered many galleries in our art features in the past. And I really want to focus on finding individuals to profile there that aren't part of the academic art world, right? That don't have those same resources to that art world. And I want to focus on maybe individuals that are overlooked in the art scene. So that's one way, a very specific way we're trying to do that. But to talk a little bit more about how the magazine works in general, is that we are a monthly magazine that comes out at the first week of every month, and we work months in advance. So if you're looking to become involved in the print magazine, definitely recommend reaching out to us months in advance of which month you're trying to become involved in. And that way we can start working and building that relationship with you. Currently, we're working with Susi for a story for our February local leaders issue, which is really exciting. So we're really excited to share that story, your story, Susi, and what you do. And so that's just another example of and we're working on that now for February. So that's kind of the time frame example of how we work in advance for those monthly issues. Another point of advice as well, if you're interested in pitching for a print-ish article, is that every month we do have our themes. So for example, this January, today, actually our issue is coming out for January, and it is the My Body and Me issue, and that's our theme, where we cover individuals and businesses who help with body image and like self-actualization through body modification. So that's the theme for this month, and next month is local leaders. Then the month after that is the Amplify Black Voices issue. So we do have a theme planned out for every single month. So if there is, and that calendar is public. So if there is a month that you feel like your business or your story would align with, please reach out to us and let us know and say, hey, this local leaders issue for next year, for example, I have an individual that needs to be covered, and we would love to have you reach out to us and tell us about those individuals if we, if they are on our radar. And the best way to do that, honestly, in the past, we have told people to reach out via reviews at slugmag.com, but we do have received hundreds of emails to that inbox, and I really personally don't want to miss your emails. If it's a local business, if it's a local organization, I want that to come directly to me. And I put my email in the chat. It's bianca@slugmag.com, because our reviews inbox does receive many pitches from national individuals. So since we are a Salt Lake Underground, we are focused on our community here in the city, but throughout Utah as well. We really want to make sure that we're seeing the stories of our local individuals first, and then possibly exploring the national stories. But so I definitely recommend reaching out to me, and I would love to echo the other individuals, all the other panelists' advice on pitches. Definitely need a lot of specifics, kind of just a who, what, when, where, and why. Those journalist basics of what your story is and what your pitch is, and that would definitely start getting the ball rolling as efficiently and as quickly as possible. So another resource I want to talk about is our slugmag.com. While we do publish all of our issue stories on slugmag.com, we have a lot of room and opportunity to share online exclusives, and this is a great place to share pre-coverage on your events. So for those of you who have events that really want to promote it, I would definitely advise reaching out to me or to Alex if you have his email, or to Audrey, who is our junior editor. All of our emails are our names at slugmag.com, so it's pretty easy to find, and we're on our website. So I would reach out to us, or one of us, about like a month ahead of your event, so that we can write and coordinate and really plan out the article with enough time to actually promote your event. So we do need that time frame if you're trying to promote an event through an online exclusive. Another way to do that is to also hit our daily calendar tab on our website and follow the instructions, and that's free to submit your event on our daily calendar. So that's updated daily. We have Alex actually is in charge of updating that daily. So a lot of different ways to reach out to us and to share your stories. And I'm so excited to hear more about each of you and to answer any questions. So thank you for having me, and look forward to chatting some more.
Last media panelist is a friend, Jennifer Johnson, And she is, I would consider her a corporate journalist. And I'm not sure if she worked for kind of the local community newspaper and was able to elevate and amplify our many stories. She was able to get into media community newspapers, and so wanted to include her today in her new role. And I'm calling it as a corporate journalist, and I'll let her explain. But Jennifer, welcome this morning. You're on mute, Jennifer, you're on mute.
There we go. All right, thank you. Just so you guys know, I have my tablet, my desktop, and my phone, and I'm finally getting to you. So be tech connected is the message. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So when I read that I was a corporate journalist, I had mixed feelings about that at first, but I fully embraced that idea because I think that's really the value that I can bring to the community here. In 2019, I wrote about 6 different stories that involved Pacific Islanders. And whereas we've heard from KSL and Salt Lake Tribune and even KUER and Slug as being really overwhelmed with a lot of media hits, journalists such as myself are not so much. So it's really a good way to get your message out, reaching out to these or local community, hyper community media as a way of getting your message out. I wanted to let you know of a few things. So it's corporate and journalist, that's my title here. So I'm going to give you feedback from both. On the journalist side, in 2019, the Society for Professional Journalism here locally did not award any honors for writing in either the A category, that's big scale press like Salt Lake Tribune, Deseret News, or local community writing for minority affairs. So I'm going to repeat that again. So Society for Professional Journalism in Utah, they had 350 categories. There were no awards given for minority coverage reporting. So I think that means that it's an onus on us as journalists, and also an invitation for you as what I'm going to call a micro minority, like folks that maybe don't even get to me, when I hear minorities and read it in the press, I find Pacific Islanders are very rarely included in that kind of general category. So I think it's an opportunity to help get engaged, and that journalists should want to be doing the job that Lauren said of covering their communities, with you as an essential part of that. So that's an important thing. I think Lee was talking about, being able to plug into news events going on. When I looked up this morning, I Googled Pacific Islanders in Utah, and the stories that came up were about the COVID statistics from way back in the summer. Not a lot came up in terms of a lot of Pacific Islander oriented news of recent. The Aaron Kinikini issue, the ACLU attorney, who's then involved in domestic violence charges, the Frank, is it Miley? Is that the correct pronunciation? The USU individual overlooked for a coaching spot. These are kind of issues that the PI, Pacific Islander community, can get involved in and be quoted, looking to you to be sources on different news items going on. When I was working for Valley Journals, this is again back in my journalist hat in 2019, and when you hear Valley Journals, think of your hyperlocal community. For example, the Taylorsville Journal, the Harriman Journal, that kind of thing. They had never written about Black community issues. They had never done anything that I know of on different minority issues. So I helped, blaze the ground for that. And I was honored that PICTAR nominated me for an award with the Society of Professional Journalists for that. So that's kind of the journalist side of things. From the corporate journalist side of things, I'll let you guys know a few things I've observed today. I really like some sightings, I'll call them, of PR savviness. I love that John wasn't sure how to pronounce a name. I think that that's one of the biggest things that people are afraid of sometimes. Is, Susi, I'm terrified of trying to pronounce your name. And this might be something that you don't really think about, but I know Facebook has that pronunciation guide, maybe just realizing that it'll help us be more comfortable, if you take the time to proactively pronounce your name for us and help us, understand it, and even tease us about it, just to make us more comfortable with the idea of that. Like I said, my biggest fear. I also wanted to shout out a few of the individuals on this call. Jeanette with the ACE Chamber, Rachel with SBA, and of course, Susie with PICTAR. I really love that you are showing your message on this call. This is a video call, and you have in the background your organization. So I thought it was a great way, a corporate way of representing yourself. I also wanted to say that Audrey, she called herself being nosy and always being around, and it's a very good thing for journalists. I've observed her in multiple situations and even ran a photo of her at a PICTAR conference I attended a few years ago. So I think that's good. And then Tom and Karen, I think their business was called Double Diamond, the new construction business. I thought they were great in a few ways. First off, Tom, you have an opportunity to really be included in a lot of the news going on right now about Utah being the fastest growing place in the country, and about the development issues, all those construction stories. And then I thought it was really powerful that Karen followed up after he spoke by giving the name of the company again. And I thought that this kind of buddy system might be something I would enjoy, or encourage people to try out. If you're not really comfortable with media, maybe, bring a buddy into the dialogue with you to make sure you don't forget some of the things going on. So that's my information. I followed up with some other folks' ideas that were great and included my email and phone number. I would love to be the micro minority reporter for you guys.
Robert, I see. Do you have your microphone working, Robert? I guess not. Oh no, do you? Oh, still no. Okay. So Robert is one of our partners he's the senior vice president of at Zions Bank. So we are going to switch. Thank you, everybody. I hope that each of you found some value, some nuggets of information in how to connect to media. We've got about 6 minutes left, so that's going to be about Daniel. Let's do 3 rounds of 2 minutes. Daniel is going to move everybody. Each panelist will have a breakout room.
Well, here's
go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, here's what we do to just sort of make things a little bit more manageable. I've created a different breakout room for each of the media panelists that have just presented. And easier than me trying to move everyone around is I opened up the permission so that you can move around. So with 7 different rooms, if everyone went to a room, we would have about 4 to 5 people per room. And so when I open up these rooms, if everyone else that aren't the media people, we'll just pick a room, and if you join a room and there's 7 people in there, maybe just drop out and maybe join another room so that we have about 4 to 5 people each room. And then I'll broadcast the message every 2 minutes to just say, hey, it's time to move on. So each of the people in there, keep your pitches really succinct if you can, and if we roll over, we roll over. But this way, each of our media members will be in a different space, and then just keep an eye out for those broadcasts going up. Okay. All right. So I'm opening up the rooms right now, and you should be getting notice. And if you have to bow out, then you bow out. If not, just head off to rooms and feel like joining up.
This seems like magic, right? We're waiting to be like moved around on our magic carpets.
Do you guys want to be assigned to rooms? So it looks
Oh
like
no, I don't know. I think it's cool how it like moves people out. It's like they just disappear.
yeah, I get the breakout room list, so I see who's going off to other ones. Look like Keri and Lauren don't have any guests. If anyone wants to join in with them,
How do you go there?
Can you move me to Karen?
sure.
How do you know? That's why I'm just sitting here. How do you know where to go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess it's
where to
us that
go.
are not computer savvy that are still sitting in this room.
Yeah, I was waiting for it, but I think I found out there's a little square on the top left side, and then there's rooms there. You click on it, and there's 7 rooms there.
Where, David? Where do we click?
It's on the left side top where it says where you're recording. If you click on it, or if you just tap on your screen, you'll see break rooms, and then you could go through those.
I am so unsavvy about computer stuff.
I'm sorry, I can't go anywhere.
So I guess maybe we'll just sit here and talk to ourselves. It's like I can't figure out how to go into the other room.
Okay.
This is what happens when we're old, right?
Hey, Claudia, where do you want to go?
Anywhere you put me, I'm
Okay,
happy.
I'll send you over to Lauren.
Thank you.
What room is Lauren?
She's in room 1.
This either.
Okay, awesome.
And Susan's in here. So we could just, Susan's gone now. Oh no,
No, I'm
Susan's here. So we
I
could
went
just,
to my room and nobody spoke, and I was like, "Oh my God, nobody likes me."
We-
Go back to the big room.
We have a few
We'll
people
like
trying to
you
figure
and-
out where to go.
yeah. Some of us aren't very computer savvy, so we'll be here. So do you guys have any questions for Susan? I see we have some film people.
I have a question for Susan.
Okay.
Hi, Susan. This is Mona Tanyelu, an aspiring filmmaker. You said something about filmmaking.
Yeah.
So we made a trip out to New Zealand, and what I noticed out there is they had a lot of funding for Pacific Islanders out there, but out here there's nothing for us. I'm just wondering if there's anything that we don't know something about, or.
Yeah, it's a good question. I know that we do have programs, NBCUniversal, so Universal Studios has some programs that are attempting to diversify the folks that are not only in front of, but behind the camera. So we have some opportunities for diverse filmmakers, writers, and there's programs like that. And I'd love to be able to connect you up with that. Now, those are in California, but I'm not sure if there's remote opportunities now because we're all obviously in a different situation. So I'd be glad to connect you up, and Susie, maybe you can connect me up with you folks, and that would be great. So I don't know about specific, PI related, funding, but I do know that there are API funding opportunities at the various studios. So that's really helpful, I think, to get you. And then we have some other programs that I'd be glad to connect you up with for sure. And if not at NBCUniversal, I also have connections to other companies that I'd be glad to connect you with. Because that's half the problem is getting the funding, let alone getting somebody to pick up your film, right? I mean, that's a whole nother, it's a whole nother thing. But we also support a lot of the film festivals. So the API film festivals around the country, whether it's the Center for Asian American Media, which is the largest film festival that's out of San Francisco, the LA Visual Communications one, Philadelphia. I mean, we support those as well because we know that's a platform for our community to show their films. And then Comcast itself also has a video on demand destination where we put independent films, API films, on our platform so that our customers can see these films. Because that's the other problem is, you need the funding to do the film. You need a place to show what your sell your wares, and then you need somebody to actually produce it, show it, give it a platform. So it's all those areas that need that kind of assistance for our filmmakers. So the long and the short of it is, why don't you connect up with me through Susie, and then I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, thank you.
The other thing I was going to tell you, gentlemen, is the Utah Pacific Island Film Series. We partner, if you talk to Lauren Ulugia, It hasn't been announced yet, but we actually partnered with the Utah Film Society for our first Pacific Island film tour. And so that'll be the last week of March. And there are some ways for funding that we have learned. PIC would be obviously the very first one, right? They're the only people that I know of here in the United States that are giving money for Pacific Island films. That is their whole platform out of Hawaii, but I'm happy to give you that information as well for you and introduce you to Lauren. Anybody else have some questions for Susan?
I'm back. They left.
Thank you, Claudia.
I closed all the rooms. They'll all be closing in 30 seconds. And
Okay.
Anyone that's still online will be coming back to the room.
Yeah, Claudia is with Island Liaison in Phoenix, Arizona, and we are really glad to have her here with us. And we are opening our chapter this month in Mesa, Arizona. So the Pacific Island Business Alliance will be with Claudia in a couple of weeks. And we're taking some of our Pacific Island businesses to Arizona, to Mesa, where we have an office and partners there. I think Karen is also on the call this morning.
We're a coalition where we work out in that, so I don't know.
So it is 9:33, and next month, the Salt Lake City chapter, we are going to learn all about the professional rugby team that is here. We'll have Kilbo Kajar with us, who is the general manager, CEO of the Warriors, that has been, now they're building some really big stadium here, and excited to learn about them. The other thing is that the Utah County chapter meets on the third Thursday. And so we will, same spot on the third Thursday morning at 8 a.m. for Utah County. And the first Thursday of the month will be the Salt Lake chapter. So thank you everyone for coming this morning. John, if you want to finish it up.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I was going to say, I was going to shout out to those that are on the call from Arizona. We're going to be over there next week. Just to have our, what is it? What are we calling it? Grand opening office tours of our new office in Mesa, Arizona. And so if anybody's down in that area, we'll see you guys next week. With that, thank you all for joining us, and especially thank you to all the panelists, for all those members of the media. We really appreciate all those that joined us and participated. Thank you, Daniel, for facilitating the breakout rooms. I'm sorry it was so short, but hopefully you guys exchange some contact info and can reach out further. So with that, anything else, Susie, or anything else that I'm forgetting? If not, we'll close this meeting. Thank you all. See you guys at the next one.
Hey,
Have
John.
a great day and great work week.
Hey, John.
Yes.
Okay, I just put this note in, but I was to make the chat comments available, the chat notes available.
Yes. So what'll happen is if you go to the PICTAR YouTube channel, this will be on the channel, and we also will have the chat there as well.
Excellent.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Keri, everybody that's participated. I hope that you learned something, met somebody that can help move your business forward.